Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are doing F1 2021 Team Maker cars. I know it's a bit late, but still always earlier than never, and we are going to be rating which cars I think the best, and I probably don't have the best taste, but let's see what I think about them. So first we are going to do Aston Martin, and this one's a nice one. We have lots of good things about Aston Martin, and before we do that, let's change this. Right, so we have all of those, and I'm going to rate Aston Martin in God tier, because just look at that car. It just flows so nice with the green and the pink with that little Mercedes engine bump. It just looks so good when it's working together. So the next one we are going to rate is the Alfa Romeo. And the Alfa Romeo obviously pretty much just inverted their colours, and I think it's okay, but it looks much better than last year's, so I'll put it in meh. And then we have the Red Bull. The Red Bull clearly hasn't changed at all, but it's been such a nice car just in general because it's a Red Bull. And we also have obviously the new sponsors because of Sergio Perez joining the team. So I think, as always, the Red Bull one goes in God. It's just a no-brainer because it's pretty much the exact same as the Alfa Romeo, but just much better because the Red Bull already had nice design and they've continued on for a long time, and it just makes it look really good. But as we move on to the AlphaTauri, the sister team, I don't think they should have inverted it because in my preferences this does not look good at all. The AlphaTauri just shouldn't be here, so I'm going to put it in okay because it's not rubbish, but I really don't like it. And then as we get into the McLaren, I think the McLaren with the rainbow right here, I'll put up a bigger picture of it, and I just think it's stunning, and I put that in pro. It's absolutely amazing in my preferences, absolutely outstanding. The blue and of course the rainbow, and obviously there's a Mercedes engine in there, but just always it's just amazing. But as we get into the next one, which is the Mercedes AMG Patronus team, I think it looks okay, but it's not trash, it's not God. I put it as meh because obviously it has that Ineos has obviously more sponsors have been put in, but I really don't like, because clearly someone's just said put more AMG, and it just doesn't look as good as when it was the stars. But still they're continuing with their black theme, which makes it a meh instead of an okay. But as we get into the Alpine, I know everyone calls it a toothpaste livery, but to be honest, it's not too bad, and I would put it as a God, because it is actually a nice colour difference, and the shape of it is quite nice. But as we rate the Haas, I think compared to the Alpine, it's absolutely rubbish. Obviously, they have put the Russian flag on instead because obviously Nikita Mazapin, hashtag we say no to Mazepin, there's a lot more Russian flags because obviously the company that he brings along, this massive sponsor. So I don't think it's that good. I rate it as trash, absolutely rubbish, because obviously it's just like rubbish. Who would even get that? Because I don't think anyone will like it. If they went for the German flag, it probably would have looked much, much better. But as we go on to the next and last one, the Williams. And everyone hates the Williams because apparently it looks like the car from F1 Manager. And yes, it does, but still, I like the design of the Williams. And I put it in meh, because it's not great, but it's not absolutely rubbish. But that's our car one, and next we are going to rate the driver lineups for the F1 2021. So now we are back with the driver lineup / driver ratings. And first we are Max Verstappen, and I rate this driver. Max Verstappen is really good, and obviously with the Red Bull team, he just excels the Red Bull. Compared to Alex Albon last year, it was absolutely rubbish, Alex Albon. So let's see, where should I put him? I put him in the meh tier. Actually no, let's put him in the God tier, because he's not pro, but he's not bad. So then we have Esteban Ocon. I don't really like this driver personally, but still I think he is okay with Renault. Obviously, actually no, it's Alpine, but obviously French driver, French team, so of course it's a no-brainer for them to go with that. So I put them in meh. So next is Latifi. So actually, Latifi hasn't been performing too bad because obviously he was for 2020 a rookie driver, but hopefully that won't change anything compared to his actual what he's doing. But I rate him as okay, but not too great. So next is Pierre Gasly. Obviously he's an amazing driver, he's been improving so much and it's just amazing. He even had a race win last year, so I put him in God tier because he is absolutely amazing. And then we have Lando Norris, who is also improving a lot at a steady pace and is doing very well in his McLaren. Obviously got first ever podium in the 2020 season, so hopefully we can have more like that, and I also rate him in meh tier. Actually no, he's God tier. George Russell obviously had that massive heartbreak at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in Italy where he could have got points but ended up not getting points. But then, because of Lewis Hamilton testing positive for COVID in the Sakir Grand Prix, he proved his worth as a Mercedes driver, leading the Grand Prix until we had that horrible Mercedes pit stop error that wrecked his whole race. He could have got a win, and then he went all the way back up the grid to P2, chasing after Sergio Perez in P1, and he got a puncture. So that is the worst thing forever for him, that will haunt him. But he could have won twice, and that's why I rate him as a pro driver. So next is Charles Leclerc. Obviously beat Sebastian Vettel last year because of random reasons that we're not quite sure about yet, but he's still going up. He's obviously not grown up fully, but he is still a very good driver, and I also rate him in God tier Then we have Giovinazzi. I don't know why Alfa Romeo kept him up on there, but I don't know why they kept him for the season, but because he's absolutely trash. He pretty much never gets out of Q1. That's Kimi Raikkonen's job, which we will get to later. But as we move on to Lance Stroll, he is definitely a meh. He obviously had some good times, getting second in the Sakir Grand Prix, but still he is a very good driver, but I put him in the middle row with Esteban Ocon. Next we have Sergio Perez, and he is a good driver. I absolutely rate him, but I still put him in actually God, because obviously he's still, I think he's at his peak point now, but let's see how he does into the season. And the next driver we have is Fernando Alonso. Let's hope he can live up to all the hype around him for this season, but I rate him as meh, because I'm not quite sure about Fernando Alonso. I know he'll probably be really good, and obviously he's been really good in testing, but because I'm doing this on the last day of testing at the moment, recording this. And then we have Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz obviously moving teams from Mclaren into a brand new environment in Ferrari, and I think that will work okay, but not that well, so I rate him a God because of what happened in the 2020 season, but hopefully he can extract that thing out of Ferrari. Obviously had a few spins in the testing sessions, but still I hope he can do his best. Then we have Nikita Mazapin, and immediately, Nikita Mazepin, I don't think he should even be in Formula 1, but still I put him in trash, because basically the only reason he is in Formula 1 is because of his sponsors, but still he is actually a good driver, but because of what he's done he is not performing that greatly. Then we move on to Valtteri Bottas, and in the Sakir 2020 Grand Prix, George Russell, of all people, overtook Valtteri Bottas on the first lap and also overtook him through the twisty section of the track. So I think, he's meh. He shouldn't be at Mercedes. Yes, he's a good wingman, but if George Russell can overtake him, clearly there's a difference between driver ability. But as we move on to Kimi Raikkonen, I think he is a meh driver. He has been obviously in Formula 1 for I think nearly 20 or 30 years, and obviously he is a good choice for Alfa Romeo to go with, obviously. But now we do Lewis Hamilton, and I think he is a great driver, obviously 7-time world champion, and I think he is still in pro, obviously with George Russell. I think that would be a great Mercedes lineup if that was actually good. But then we have Daniel Ricciardo at McLaren standing beside Lando Norris. And obviously I think this will work out great at McLaren, so I put him in God. And then we have Sebastian Vettel. Obviously the past year has been rubbish for him. He was fighting for a 5-time world championship in 2018, but just fell short. And then in 2019 he got a few wins, but his teammate Charles Leclerc outdid him and outscored him. And then in 2020 it was his worst season ever, probably to date. And still, I think he still has stuff left in him to win more races. And if Ferrari didn't we don't know this, but if Ferrari didn't treat him maybe bad, or we don't know how he was treated at Ferrari, he would have clearly got podiums and race wins. Obviously Turkey, he got P3, but I put him in the meh tier. Actually, I put him in the God tier because he is still a good driver. But as we move on to Mick Schumacher, we obviously Schumacher name, but doesn't always mean he's going to be absolutely outstanding. But I think he will be a meh driver. Obviously his rookie season, but still he'll be a good driver. And now we have Yuki Sonoda, another rookie driver racing for AlphaTauri, and obviously he's proven that he is great and obviously is really good, and he is also a Japanese driver on the grid again, so I rate him as meh because obviously it is still his rookie season. But thank you guys so much for watching the episode, well, not episode, but this video, and remember to watch my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode season, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.